Okay, it's time to get back on track. We have a Cynabal to build. Before our little Caldari side quest, we were talking about buying some fuel block BPOs. We will need to buy all 4 types in order to build the Cynabal, and we've got the materials that we need now to build 3 of them. We were talking about buying just the Galente BPO to start because we will need to do research on it, and then we can start at building and make sure that we have everything we need, do a sort of proof of concept. The BPOs cost 10 million ISK each, and I was thinking about only doing 1 to start because that was less ISK to save, but also I assumed that we would need to fly around to each different region of space to buy the BPOs. We're in Galente space now. I figured we could buy a Galente BPO nearby, and then eventually we'd go buy the Caldari, Amar, and Mimitar ones in the respective regions of space. But it turns out there are no Galente fuel block BPOs for sale by NPCs in this region. In fact, there's only 1 sell order at all, and it's not an NPC one, but I mean, props to this guy for trying to get 360 million ISK for a 10 million ISK BPO. So I did some research, and it turns out that there's only one corporation, one NPC corporation that sells all 4 fuel blocks. It's Thucker Mix, and there are no Thucker Mix stations anywhere around here. But it means that if we go to a Thucker Mix station, we can buy all 4 at once. And thanks to all the Garistas we killed, we have virtually 60 million ISK, so we can just knock it all off in one go. If we can find a Thucker Mix station. Well, you know where there are Thucker Mix stations? In Derelict. So it's time for Bill to go home. Dysa 2 Amatar Fleet Assembly Plant, which, let's be honest, is not really our home anymore, but it is still technically set as our home station. To fly there would be 24 jumps, which is quite a ways, although we have done longer flights. But there is a faster way. Because it's set as our home station, it's where we'll wake up if we die, if our pod's destroyed. But we're not strictly reliant on someone else blowing up our pod for us. Bill can take matters into his own hands. This is Bill. Bill wants to build a Cynabal and join the Angel Cartel cause in Zarzak, but he's not making it easy on himself. We have died, and we have been reborn. After self-destructing our clone in Manar, we have woken up here in Dysa, good as new, fresh suit of skin. It has been a while. Look at all this stuff. The only ship we have here is a Reaper, which is not very appealing, but we do have a Slasher blueprint, as well as a bunch of other blueprints that honestly we might well want to have in Manar, or wherever our new home ends up being. The damage control blueprint especially, we've only found 1 meta damage control in all of our ratting, and we could very well want to build some more of them, not to mention the nanofiber internal structures and the small ancillary current routers. So we're going to bring these blueprints with us when we fly back to Manar. So we could build a Slasher, put some nanofibers on it, and try and run the gates. But given that we're trying to move basically just BPOs, there actually is a better ship for the job. Every single station in New Eden sells shuttle blueprints. This is an Amar station, Amar shuttle blueprint, 50,000 ISK. Yes, please. And we've already got the very few minerals that we need to build it sitting here. Less than 3,000 Arcanium, nothing else. All of one of those, please. Now we're going to have to wait an hour 23 for it to build. That's fine. Thanks to movie magic, our shuttle has finished building. I am amazed that this is the first time we've built one. Seems like a shuttle would have been early on the list, but we've never needed it before now. And we have chosen for our first shuttle to build unambiguously, incontrovertibly, the ugliest shuttle in the game. But it will do the trick. So the advantage of a shuttle over something like a slasher is that the shuttle will warp effectively instantly. So our slasher, even with the nanofiber internal structures, we weren't able to get our align time under 2 seconds, which means that somebody who was really trying to catch us on the gates could reasonably lock us, and we really don't want to get locked while we've got a hold full of blueprints. The shuttle is, if you warp straight off the gate, functionally uncatchable. It's not invulnerable though. The trick with a shuttle is that it can't fit any modules. So the 764 hit points the shuttle comes with is how many hit points it's going to have. And most significantly, that means that if a smart bomb even breathes on it, the shuttle is going to die. But the route that we're going to be taking is not one that is very heavily trafficked, so I think the chances of us running into a random hostile on a gate with a scram is a lot higher than the chances of us running into someone smart bombing. So I do think the shuttle is the right choice. The other advantage shuttles have for travel is that they are nullified, which means that they're immune to warp bubbles, which is mostly useful for traveling through null. I mean, only useful traveling through null or wormholes. There's no bubbles in low sec. But actually, how far are we from KTAC-Q? I think we're quite close. Oh, that's interesting. Is now the moment? We have left our Cynabal blueprint that we worked so hard for out in KTAC-Q in Angel Space. We didn't want to move it because we didn't want to risk losing it. But we will eventually need to get it into Empire Space, because we're not going to take all of our materials out to it. It'll be, as risky as it is, it will be safer to try and bring the blueprint to the materials. And I have been thinking that once I get everything in place to build a Cynabal, people are watching the channel, and people are going to know I have to go get that blueprint. So maybe, right now, when I have given no indication in any video that I've posted that I'm even thinking about going to collect that blueprint, maybe now's the moment to collect it. Let's try it. At the very least, the flight out there is low risk. If we die, we'll just wake up back here and build another shuttle. And if we see that the route is empty on the way out, then as long as we come back straight away, we should be okay. We just need to give this shuttle an appropriately sneaky name. Carmen. Hopefully Carmela does not get confused. Carmen, Shuttle Diego. That works. Let's go pull off a heist. Nope. There's no glamour shot that will do this justice. Having immunity to bubbles makes nullsec not honestly any scarier than lowsec for a shuttle. The concern that we have is that someone's going to be sitting on a gate with smart bombs. The bubbles don't scare us. The things that we're more likely to see in nullsec, like interceptors, interdictors, they won't be able to catch us anyways. And the threat of smart bombs is actually more of an Empire Space threat than it is a nullsec threat for just that reason, is that if you're trying to catch and kill people on gates in nullsec, then you use bubbles. So I do feel like, in a way, actually, because we're flying in Carmen the Amar shuttle, the most dangerous part of this journey isn't the nullsec segment, it's the lowsec segment. There's 11 people in local. That's a little concerning. The other time when I feel like a shuttle is most vulnerable is when it's undocking. But we have an undock bookmark, right? So that's quite safe. Okay, we're grabbing the Cynabal blueprint. I suppose we could bring... I just don't see any advantage to doing so. That's fine, we'll bring it. Combat scanner probe. This is nerve-wracking. When this blueprint was awarded to us, it was awarded to us in that station. So no matter what else has happened in our run up until this point, at no point was our Cynabal BPC ever in danger. Now, we are flying through nullsec with the Cynabal blueprint in our hold. Nothing but 754 hit points between it and the cold dark of space. It's legitimately nerve-wracking. I know this is safe. I know that a bubble can't catch us. I know that an interceptor can't catch us. I know the only genuine risk that we run here is a smart bomber. And there were no smart bombers on the way out. So what are the chances that a random, like, smart bomb Stratios has set up in Zendaya in the last, like, 2 minutes? Zero. It is functionally zero. And yet, I'm sweating bullets. If I warp to the perch, I could descan for potential smart bombers. But, on the other hand, most of the most common smart bombing ships these days, like a Proteus or a Stratios, are cloaky anyways, and because you can decloak and smart bomb in the same tick. And so warping to a perch doesn't give us any new information, but if we warp to a perch, that does give the potential smart bomber a chance to see us on D-scan and get ready for us to land. It's a conundrum. I think just moving as fast as possible is probably the safest thing we can do. There's a capsule. That's eyes. The capsule itself is obviously not a threat, but that's somebody's alt sitting there looking at who comes through Doral and seeing where we're warping to. There's a possibility now that, like, if someone's going to be smart bombing, that would be a way to do it. He would see that I was in a shuttle. He would see that I had warped to Ansu, and his other character could be sitting here waiting to smart bomb me. It did not happen. We have the blueprint in Empire space. We're going to get it safely to Dysa, and then we're going to spend a moment considering whether or not we actually want to give ourselves a heart attack by moving it all the way over to Minar today. Oh man, I hope that there's I hope that I play some I hope that I was playing some good heist music in the edit. And we are in warp to Dysa 2 station, where I will be so relieved to get this Cynabal blueprint out of our hold. It belongs safe in a hangar. I'm not sure I can handle the stress. If we lost the Cynabal blueprint, it would be a nightmare to get another one. We can't run the Epic Arc again, I don't think. And the other options for getting a Cynabal blueprint are not appealing. It's safe. Holy moly. Okay, our Cynabal blueprint is safe. Destination is set to Uzistoon, just 5 jumps. Let's go buy some fuel block blueprints. Tucker Mix Factory. Looks like a giant pile of rusted metal. Very Mimitar. Hydrogen fuel block blueprint, 10 million ISK. Helium fuel block blueprint, 10 million ISK. Nitrogen fuel block blueprint, 10 million ISK. Oxygen fuel block blueprint, 10 million ISK. Complete set of 4 fuel block blueprints into Carmen's hold. Now back to Dysa. Okay, all we have to do now is get this shuttle back to Manar without dying to a smart bomb. I've decided that we are going to bring the Cynabal blueprint with us to Manar. So this is going to be a bit of a high-risk flight, but I think that the chances of smart bombs on our route are pretty low. And we're bringing Horatio. Let's cross our fingers and hope that this is a unexciting journey. Most of our route is through high-sec, and in high-sec people will just not be using smart bombs. There's only the few low-sec jumps at the start of our journey and the end of our journey where we're really in reasonably any danger at all. We are passing through Parchanir in Synclaison, and there is actually somebody here that I would like to speak with. In order to do so, we're going to need to be in a Corvette. So who could I possibly need to talk to in Parchanir? I'm only allowed to speak with Angel Cartel agents, of which I did a bunch back when we were living in Curse, but we're in Galente High-Sec now, a 0.9 system at that. There can't be anyone here who would possibly give us the time of day, right? Well, about that. I did think when we left Curse behind and moved out to Low that we were probably just done with running missions for this whole endeavor. But then it occurred to me, I wasn't actually 100% sure that there weren't some Angel Cartel agents scattered throughout Empire space. Maybe there were the occasional Angel operative that we could talk to in high-sec or even, ideally, low-sec. So I ran a search, and it turns out that more or less no, there aren't random Angel agents in low-sec or high-sec. But there are a couple of interesting exceptions. Parchanir is in the Algental constellation of Synclaison, and this is a Cosmos constellation. The Cosmos constellations are part of an old and mostly forgotten sort of overarching story to the EVE Online universe. And each system in the Cosmos space, there's one for each empire, features these beacons in space. Some of these beacons are static dungeons full of unique NPCs that drop weird story-related loot. And others of them, like the latent transmitter here, are actually like little campfires in space where agents, not in stations, agents in ships just sit around waiting to hand out missions related to the Cosmos combat complexes. And mostly in Galente space, as you'd expect, these Cosmos agents are Galente agents. But not exclusively. This gentleman here, in this incursus, is named T-Rex Emisor. And if we have a chat with him, we will see that T-Rex here is a member of the Salvation Angels. And he has a mission for us. He wants us to fly. How far? 4 jumps over to Albarul and bring him back a latent submission tape, which is 0.1 cubic meters. We can do this in a Corvette. And he offers us 300,000 ISK and 1,000 units of Federation Navy Iron Charge M. Iron's the longest range ammo. We might never want to use it, but still, it's 1,000 units of faction medium ammo and a boost to our Angel Cartel standings. Yes, T-Rex, I am your man. Here we are in Albarul. We just have to dock up at Egonix Inc. Development. What the hell is Egonix? Egonix Inc. What's your deal? They hold a unique place in the music industry. Okay. Egonix employs its own music makers and can tailor the music to the individual taste of every listener. So we're going to pick up a mixtape from New Eden Spotify. for T-Rex. All right, T-Rex, I got your mixtape right here. Let's see what T-Rex actually has to say about this thing and bringing him. It's a simple errand. My friends in Egonix Inc. have come up with new tapes for the latent transmitter that I need to collect from them. I can see you're curious about the transmitter, but what you don't know can't hurt you. I guess that's not exactly true, is it? Well, anyway, don't worry. I'll keep you all safe and tucked in. Run this errand for me. And perhaps my opinion of you will rise above the level of haughty indifference. And then I might allow you to sink your teeth into a juicier bone next time around. What a douchebag. I'm certain that this is, in fact, some terrible mixtape of Galente trip hop or something. And T-Rex, for all his haughtiness, I'm sure is just so eager to play his jams for the people of Parteneer. All right, T-Rex. I've brought your trashy little CD. Let's get this over with. There we go. Now we're not going to request a second mission from him because I happen to know that the next mission that he's going to offer me is going to send me into one of these static dungeons, these combat plexes in system. And because by the rules of the run, we can only do stuff in space in HiSec in a Corvette, there is nothing in any of those plexes that is going to be approachable by us. So we want no part of it. We're going to let him take his stupid mixtape and do what he wants with it. And then T-Rex and I are going to part ways. And let's go get back in our shuttle and get on with the real business. Now this Federation Navy iron won't fit in our shuttle. It won't fit in Carmen. So we're going to have to leave it here and come back and pick it up later in Angela probably. Here we are. Home sweet home. A pleasure cruise. Come on, docking. Docking. Come on, say it. Thank you. Our Cynabal Materials station container now has a Cynabal blueprint in it. This is real progress. Oh, and also, in our container where we were keeping Olaf safe and sound, we've been reunited with Horatio. Our two named drone friends are buddying it up in their little cabin in the Mendara Wirkomi factory hangar. But back over here in the materials container, we do have a slight problem. We were going to start researching our fuel block blueprints, and we figured start building the oxygen fuel blocks immediately. But if we take a look at the materials required to build an oxygen fuel block, see if you can notice a slight problem. We don't have any enriched uranium. Enriched uranium is not on the list of things that we thought we were going to need to build a Cynabal. So when we were doing our planetary interaction, we just didn't build any. Now, we should be able to take care of that right now. Our planets still have the command centers on them. We can go in, and we will right now. We'll go in and we'll start enriched uranium building. But this is worrying. It does make me wonder what else I might not have known about, or what else I might have missed when I was putting together this list. Here's hoping we don't have too many more rude surprises like this ahead of us. The good news is that enriched uranium is only a P2 resource. So we only need to extract 2 things from planets, convert them into P1s, and then build the P2s. It's a lot simpler than, say, the robotics. The catch is that the only planet that you can get both toxic metals and precious metals on is plasma, and we don't have a plasma planet in system, nor do we have a plasma command center. But I notice that we could get the precious metals on a barren planet and the toxic metals on a lava planet, of which we have both sitting idle right now. Okay, but while the enriched uranium is building, we also need to be figuring out how we're going to research this blueprint. Aha! Next door in Mormolot. Concord testing facilities. So I've never actually done material efficiency research on a blueprint in EVE before, but I'm pretty sure we just open up the industry screen, click material efficiency research, set it to maximum, pay the 632,000 ISK laboratory fee, and then we will have to wait 9 days for it to finish. Let's get that started. While the blueprint's researching, while the toxic metals are extracting and the precious metals are extracting, and eventually the enriched uranium is being processed, now might be a good time to go over and retrieve those ice products from faction warfare space. We didn't bring them back in Thomas when we mined them because Thomas was at too great of risk of potentially dying at a gate. We said then, we'll come back at some point in Angela to pick these up, and then we never did. Okay, we pick up our helium isotopes. 828 hydrogen isotopes into the hold. And while we're out here in Minmatar Losec, it's time for us to finally pick up a blueprint that I know a lot of viewers have been very anxious for Bill to buy. That's right, we've reached the point in Bill's life where he needs an exploration frigate. And we're getting a probe instead of an Imicus because, well, look at them. Probe blueprint, 2.7 million ISK. We're passing through Mormolot, and we're going to stop in at the Concord testing facilities where our research team is hard at work. Both the scan probe blueprints and the probe launcher blueprints are sold at Concord stations. Core probe launcher 1 blueprint, 60,000 ISK. Core scanner probe 1 blueprint, 5 million ISK. Our hydrogen and helium isotopes are safely back in Minar in our Cynabal materials container. And now would probably also be a good time to update our shopping list, to which we've added the enriched uranium that's still en route. But we can also update it to reflect that we have all 4 fuel block blueprints. Bam! Now it's time to start building some stuff. A probe. Some probes. And a probe launcher. A probe, some probes, and a probe launcher. It's like a schoolyard tongue twister. In an hour and a half, we're going to be ready to explore some mother... Just a quick little jaunt in Angela to pick up those Federation Navy iron charges. We're about to jump into Parchenier, where I'm sure that we'll hear T-Rex's jams playing max volume over every single broadcast frequency. Maybe he's better at this music game than we thought.